Howdy folks, I hope this is audible while I'm driving in the car. It's not making too much noise. It's a beautiful day. I'm driving down a hill from Howth in Dublin. It looks great out here today, and it's the only little bit of a consolation this morning for having the massive disappointment of coming away with what feels like a loss at the King Power Stadium against Leicester. A lot of takeaways, but keeping it brief, for me, it's unfortunate that after we went a goal down, the thing that was the most disappointing for the whole team was that we looked rattled and then didn't really get back into it the way we should have. Maybe we'll just have to hope that they grow more of a thick skin, more of a spine over the coming weeks as the Premier League begins to properly kick off again. You're shaking off some cobwebs on day one, but we should never have come away with a draw against Leicester. They're going straight back down next season, let's be fair. So obviously the goal that we conceded is a big disappointment, but ultimately Udogie should definitely have closed down the cross. But where was Romero? Like, I don't understand. This is supposed to be our, probably, a lot of people would consider him our highest caliber of player. You know, he's won 2 Copa Americas on the bounce, and he's won the World Cup. He shouldn't be leaving Jamie Vardy alone the way that he did. I couldn't understand that at all when I saw it. So hopefully, again, it's just shaking off a little bit of rust. Really disappointing from Romero as far as I'm concerned, because if he was covering his man, then Udogie not quite closing down the cross wouldn't have been as much of an issue if he had sorted out Jamie Vardy the way he should have. That for me, you know, when Romero is the most responsible player, he has more on his shoulders given the caliber of player that he is. That should have been taken care of. But you're going to have situations like that playing at the Ange system, and I haven't completely fallen out of love with the Ange system yet. It's not the way that I would probably ideally want to play, but it's incredibly entertaining. We can't say there was nothing boring about that game, and I do not miss the boring games that we used to watch under Conte and Mourinho at all, no matter what results we're getting. So ultimately, I think that the system just relies on us getting an awful lot more goals than we concede. We're probably going to concede a goal in most games, right? Because we are, with this incredibly high press, we're very vulnerable to the counter-attack. And although Romero and Van de Ven are amazing, and even Sarr, the legs on him, he's just bang, sprinting straight back and covering at times. Even though they're really, really good at getting back and sorting that out a lot of the time, we'll be exposed every now and again, and we're gonna suffer. And the way that we win is by making sure we score more goals than the opposition. We have to be a team that scores lots of goals. That's what Ange wants. He said that. It's not like that's a secret. So he knows the vulnerabilities of his system, but as far as he's concerned, as long as we score more goals than the opposition, we get 3 points. And the detriment, so Solanke, right, didn't have the greatest first game, but he didn't play badly. It's just that there were a couple of goals available that he didn't take his chances when they were there. Heading the ball directly to the keeper on 2 occasions, absolutely not ideal. But for me, he had a decent game, and he certainly wasn't the root of the problem. He presses very well. He's a solid player. I think if Richarlison had played that game instead of him, Richarlison would have put one of those balls in the back of the net for sure. But anyway, we're not to know that. It's hindsight. The problem I have is still the wingers. Now, we weren't able to play Odobert, and I think he is a solution to this problem. But it breaks my heart to say that Sonny doesn't suit this system at all. And not only Sonny shouldn't be the captain. Let's be fair. Despite Romero's bad performance, Romero is the should be the captain of the team. You give him the armband, and he is going to push the team to unbelievable things. Sonny, I love Sonny. He's my favourite player still playing today, but he doesn't suit the system. Sonny needs to be playing counter-attacking football. He always has. His best seasons were when we were playing defensively and then we'd get possession and knock the ball forward for him to run onto. He needs the space. He's a one-on-one specialist. He is no good in a team where we're camped constantly in the final third. When we're camped primarily in the opposition half, he has no space. That's not his game. And everyone's saying, oh, he needs to be back out in his rightful position on the left. You put Sonny directly in front of goal, then when he gets the ball, sometimes he's going to score. He scored, plenty of goals last season, not as much as we would have hoped, but he scored goals in the number 9 because you put him directly in front of goal, give him the ball, he's going to put it in the back of the net. He knows exactly where the goal is. But you put him out on the wing with no space, absolutely no space. The guy is terrible at beating players. He is absolutely woeful at beating players. He can't do it. I'm a little bit worried about whether or not Brennan Johnson will rise to the occasion. He's obviously very good at whipping the balls into the box low, which Solanke will hopefully be putting away later on in the season. Hopefully not too late, sooner rather than later. So please God, the Johnson signing will still make sense, even though he's not really able to beat a man. He's racing past them and down to the byline and then crossing it in. That's a tactic, right? Hopefully we'll get plenty of goals from that. We got quite a few last season, and Johnson does make late runs into the box and has scored goals that way as well. I think he is potentially going to grow to be a very important player for Spurs. I think there's a possibility. I could be wrong. Son has absolutely no outlet. I don't see him ever being what he was for Spurs if we persist with Ange, and I do hope we persist with Ange, because potentially going to grow to be a very important player for Spurs. I think there's a possibility. I could be wrong. Son has absolutely no outlet. I don't see him ever being what he was for Spurs if we persist with Ange, and I do hope we persist with Ange, because there's no point in constantly sacking managers. Bring someone new in with a new mindset, and we're never settling with anything. Ange's football is attractive. It's awesome to look at, and hopefully with the right players, we'll start seeing insane amounts of goals, and then it doesn't matter if we're conceding 1 or 2 a game, as long as we're scoring 3 or 4 or 5. But Sonny, I don't think, is going to be involved in that. Just think about what I'm saying. Son is not able to beat a man. Son was anonymous yesterday. But you barely saw Son do anything. I know Son slipped the ball to Maddison for the assist to Porro. I get that, but anyone could have done that. Anyone could have done that. I just can't see Son being what we need Son to be in this system, because let's just really think about it. The man needs space. All the time that Sonny has been amazing for us, it's because we got the ball in our half, and someone like Harry Kane with pinpoint accuracy passing would lob the ball forward directly into Son's path. Son would get on the ball, no one's chasing him, no one's going to catch him, and he puts the ball in the back of the net because he's incredible one-on-one with the keeper. But that's not the way we play anymore, and I'm that's the most disappointing thing for me of all. I think Sonny's done, but I don't think I'm just going to let him go. It's very upsetting.